Should I go up there testing? I'll go up there and test it. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. How does it sound?
Yeah.
You can get it back there? Terrific. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I want to introduce you to Richie Warrior.
What's your name?
Thank you. It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you for sending me those little vignettes.
I love
Those are very, so you saw what it was hard to do, but I selected those that fit the very things that
I mean, I hear.
More. Christina, is it?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
I'm going to be introducing you.
Oh, thank you. Wow. I have to.
It's going to be great.
It's like my delay.
So he has sat on my board on the
All they select.
You remember Vicki, I'm sure. Hi, nice to see you. Well, thank you for doing a return engagement here, but it's been long enough.
Bust out my noise canceling headphones.
So I was chair today, so it has been maybe. I think the first time we did was in 2010. I think it was 2012. We do it every 18 months. It was a morning session like this, we're opener, and he had just
Phantom's pushing enough through it? I guess so. Let's just say the podium. Weird.
Because when you unplugged it, when you plugged it back in and unplugged it,
Right, because that would obviously clearly show the difference.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I saw you, Vicki. I don't.
Good morning, everyone. We are about to start our program, so if you can please find your seats, we'll be starting in just a minute. Thank you.
And is Dr. Doti here? We got an email that said,
Good morning. Good morning. If I can ask everyone to take their seats, we're going to get started just in a moment. Good morning. I'm going to start calling out names soon if you don't take your seats. Great. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you all for coming. Welcome to the 5th Summit of the Orange County Funders Roundtable. The Orange County Funders Roundtable is celebrating their 10-year anniversary this year, which is pretty amazing. And there's several leaders that are here today that have been here since the beginning, so we really want to thank them for their vision and leadership in creating the Orange County Funders Roundtable. My name is Christina Altmeyer, and I am honored to be this year's chair of the Orange County Funders Roundtable. And first, I just want to say thank you all for coming. This is really an incredible turnout. We are thrilled. I think we broke records of the number of attendees that we've ever had at a summit before, and we really appreciate you all taking the time from your incredibly busy calendars and schedules to be here with us this morning. And to honor that, we have a very provocative, thought-provoking, challenging agenda for the next day and a half. And before we go any further, I really want to thank the program committee that put this agenda together, and especially Lisa Fujimoto. I know she's here. Lisa and Ed Kasich, and I know Ed is here, our conference chairs. And to Ruchi Warrior, who also as the administrator for the Orange County Funders Roundtable. Collectively, they have put in a tremendous amount of time, energy, brain power in really trying to make this just an incredible time for us as we talk about the challenges that are facing Orange County. So thank you all for their leadership. Thank you all for being here. We know that it's critical in order to make a difference in some of the most pressing challenges for the philanthropic and the social sector to come together, which is the theme for this year's summit. We need to come together and think about how we can creatively, innovatively address some of the most pressing challenges that are facing Orange County. So I will warn you that if you are hoping for a little bit of a respite over the next day and a half to take a break from your busy, challenging, stressful days, unfortunately, I apologize, you're not going to get it. We're really encouraging you to jump in, I would say, over the next day and a half. And we have particularly structured the agenda in response to feedback that we received in the past, that you would like this time to be a conversation. So to make that reality come true, we need you all to help actively participate in these conversations. So we will have some very incredible speakers and plenary sessions, but we'll also have hopefully some very engaging conversations. So to start that time and to start the agenda, I thought it would be helpful if we take a step back and say what are some of the most pressing challenges that are facing Orange County. But I want that answer to that question not just to come from me, but to come from all of you and your collective voices. So I put out a call earlier this year and asked some folks, what do you think are some of the most pressing challenges facing Orange County? And to my delight and surprise, many people answered and gave their perspective and were willing to put their thoughts on video. So with that, let me start with some of the responses to the most pressing challenges facing Orange County and let them set the stage today.
The most pressing challenge facing Orange County over the next 10 years is how we address the rapidly changing demographics.
Equity.
Our growing senior population and the lack of services.
So it's true, our population is changing in dramatic ways here in Orange County. Our youth population is shrinking. As the executive director of the Children and Families Commission, I'm concerned we need more babies. The birth rate in Orange County has been declining for many years, continuing both a statewide and a national trend. So the percentage of our population that is under 18 is really shrinking, but at the same time that our senior population is really growing. The over 65 population is expected to be almost 25% of the population by 2014, and it's less than 15% today. We also have an increasing amount of ethnic diversity, which is an incredible asset to our community. And one of the most surprising statistics that I recently learned is that while only 1 in 14 children is an immigrant, 53% of all children in Orange County have at least one immigrant parent. So how do we leverage this diversity? How do we take these changing demographics and really use them to solve what are some of the most pressing problems? And what are some of the most pressing problems that are facing Orange County? So let's listen to some of these voices.
Affordable housing. What are the battle girls going to do when they graduate from college and try to enter the Orange County workforce? Don't we want the same for our Orange County children that we had?
While there are a number of really important pressing issues facing us over the next 10 years, from my perspective, ensuring that our youth and young adults have the education and the job skills they need to build lives of self-reliance is so critical to ensuring that our economy thrives and that we can combat the injustice of poverty in our community all over this county.
These little guys, they are our future. Despite recent improvements in health outcomes, significant disparities persist for low-income mothers and their babies.
Right, guys? Right? Yeah?
The biggest challenge facing our community community is the lack of opportunity that underserved youth feel they have. We need more role models and mentors for our young people to help guide them down a path to brighter futures.
This is for me.
Oh, you.
You guys are joking. Oh my
Congratulations.
God. Oh my God.
Welcome home.
Oh my God.
So what those leaders identified are exactly the challenges that we were able to document with the data from the 2015 Community Indicators Report. But it's not just the data, as you saw from these videos, it's the stories behind the data about the impact of these challenges on children and families. The housing issue, we all know it. Only 44% of home buyers can afford a home in Orange County. We're second only to the Bay Area in the lack of affordable homes. On any given day, there is an estimated 4,300 homeless people on the streets in Orange County. And while educational opportunities are improving, and there's really good news to be excited about, we can't give up the focus on education. We have tremendous gains among our Latino students in the last 10 years about the percentage of the percentage of students that are graduating from high school. Great news. But that is an area that we can't sort of loosen our focus on. While educational progress has been made, and we are excited about this trend, we can't underestimate the importance of strong educational outcomes. The Stanford Center on Poverty and Inequality most recently reported that the chances of being in lifetime poverty are 1 in 2 for high school dropouts, but only 1 in 10 for those with a college degree. It is a significant focus that we need to continue to keep our eyes on. So with all these challenges, how do we move forward? How do we move forward as the collective leadership here in Orange County?
OC has 5,764 nonprofits who are poised to be able to address our community's urgent and unmet needs. The problem is additional support is needed to bridge the gap between our community's urgent and unmet needs and the resources available to nonprofits in Orange County. The good news is that large, small, and medium-sized businesses in Orange County all have funds, surplus property and resources, and volunteers that can address our community's most urgent and unmet needs.
Our most pressing need in Orange County over the next 10 years, honest leadership. More of it coming from people across the community.
Full and active democratic participation of the Latino community in Orange County.
So that brings us to this next 2 days and the leadership challenge that's in front of us. And as we think about the vision and the leadership that we will need to address some of these most pressing challenges, I can think of no one better to launch this conversation than Dr. James Doti. He is known to all of us as an incredible leader here in Orange County. He was elected as the 12th president of Chapman University in 1991. He has held the university's Donald Bren Distinguished Chair in Business and Economics since 1999. He and his colleague, Dr. Adibi, have annually presented an economic forecast conference, the longest-running economic forecast in the nation. I will say as a side note, I met Dr. Adibi and Dr. Doti when I was quite a junior consultant working at Ernst & Young, working for a partner, Larry Siegel, and we were doing a revenue forecast for OCTA, and Larry Siegel told me, go over and meet with this guy at Chapman. He's really smart. He'll give you some time. And I remember going over there, you know, I was maybe 25 years old, and just with, you know, big eyes, being incredibly daunted by the brilliance that was in front of me. He has received so many accolades for his incredible impact on philanthropy, economics, and I understand from a mutual friend that he is proudest of being inducted into the Horatio Alger Association of Distinguished Americans in 2002. So as we move forward, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. James Doti.
Thank you very much, Christina, for that very kind introduction. It's great to be here. I'm honored, in fact, humbled when I look out in this audience and think about all the great work you're doing for our community. I hope I can bring up something in leadership that will be useful to you. You're all great leaders. Chapman University, hopefully there are some things that we've done. I'll be talking about them, some nuggets that you'll be able to take away. And quite frankly, whether it's a Wall Street corporation, a university, a nonprofit, like the institutions that you lead, elements of leadership cross all those boundaries. And I'm going to be talking about transformational leadership, how one goes about changing an organization. But for those of you who don't want to change your organization, that's fine too. I'll tell you when you could daydream, because there's the first part of this, more than anything else, will be what you need to do to change an organization. But most of it will be, what are the tactics that you'll use to make your organization better? I'll try to go through this quickly. I'd love to have some time for Q&A and respond directly to the things that are of interest to you. When you think about transformational leadership, I think there are four. Can you all hear me? That sounds good. Let me stay here then. There are four areas that I'd like to cover: vision, tactics, focus, and values. By the way, you're going to see some kitties, actually panthers. We are the Chapman Panthers. And if you come to our campus, you're going to find some beautiful panthers designed by a well-known artist called Rosetta. This right here is Harriet, the panther named in honor of Harriet Sandu. It's over in our residence center area. But on the idea of vision, here's another panther. This is Betty the Panther. Some of you long-timers may remember the name Betty Hutton Williams, a wonderful, wonderful lady. And Betty the Panther, who was an athlete when she was younger, is named for her. And I thought it was great. Vision, reaching, in this case, a panther reaching for an eagle or a hawk. But that's what you do when you vision. You reach for the stars in a way. And I like this graphic because it visually gives you an idea of leadership and what it's all about and the basic elements of it and how they all come together. And when I talked about those four aspects of leadership, they're all critically important. If one's missing, then a leader will not be as effective as he or she otherwise might be. Basically, vision is something that takes you from where you are now, a current place, to a desired place. And you may be already at that desired place, and you're just tweaking it and making it better, and that's fine. Those of you who are there, this is where you can daydream. Those of you who are somewhere and want to get somewhere else, that's what this little section on vision relates to. And I'm going to give, again, Chapman as an example of this. When I became president of Chapman, I'd already been teaching there 15 years, and I know what Chapman was all about. Our basic thrust, The reason we were in existence, our elevator speech would be to give unprepared students a chance to succeed. Those that hadn't quite made it, those that didn't have the high GPA, SAT scores. We were getting the students that weren't being accepted at other institutions. We were like a last chance, not perhaps the last, but down the list in terms of we were a school where that had very low admission requirements. We didn't even require an SAT at the time. And that's fine. I mean, I'm not, I was there at the institution, I was proud of it, and the trustees and those people who were involved in our institution back in '91 and earlier were very proud that we could take students and have this transformational effect on them. Well, then we looked at, when I became president, we got our community together and we started looking at some statistics. And in U.S. News and World Report, which is probably the best comprehensive measure, objective measure of where you are and what other institutions think of you, give you a ranking. In our particular category, there were 120 schools, and our overall ranking was 61, lower half, obviously. But in the peer assessment in gray, that's the 90 here, that meant we ranked 90th out of 120, one being best, of course. One is the number one institution. And peer assessment, by the way, is a vote of presidents, provosts, and chief admissions officers at various institutions. And they vote, and we were number 90. So while we may have been happy with where we were in transforming students, it was clear that other institutions didn't think that much of us. In terms of student selectivity, we were 92, the lowest. And one might argue, well, that's where we should be. If we're an open institution school in terms of accepting students that hadn't quite made it, that's probably where you want to be. You don't want to be selective. So we were, in a way, serving our vision or our mission at the time. But as we discussed this and as we brought the community together, and I'm talking about faculty, administrators, trustees, we decided that we wanted to be a different kind of institution. We wanted to change the institution. The desired place was to give prepared students who are already able, students who already had shown achievement in terms of their SAT, GPA, leadership in their high schools, that they wanted to be part of an exciting and vibrant intellectual community. Now, I'm not here to say that one is better than the other. I'm not making that normative judgment. Both serve a purpose, and the beauty of higher education in this country is that we have enough diversity where you have different schools. It was just that the people that were part of our community wanted to be something else. We wanted to change it in a very fundamental way. And let me give you some examples of how that may work. But before I do that, I'd like to draw on each of these four aspects of leadership and give you an example of the organizations here, the nonprofits here, and how they demonstrate vision, focus, values, and so on. And I received these from Ruchi. Thank you, Ruchi Warrior sent these to me. I think they'll be part of a showcase that will be later in the day. And it was hard to select each of these, but I selected those that illuminate that particular theme I'm talking about. In this case, it's vision. So this is Science at Orange County, and Science at Orange County has been impacting middle school, et cetera, et cetera. We have a grand story to share of how an innovative teacher with a foundation in solid STEM professional development can awaken the spark of innovation in students. That grand story, that's the vision. That's the elevator speech. That elevator speech, which you should be able to get out in one breath. And at Chapman, it's to create an exciting and vibrant intellectual community. In this case, I think Sue has it. It's using STEM as a professional development tool to awaken the spark of innovation in students. And I hope you all have that kind of statement, that ability to articulate whatever your vision is. And if you're changing it, as we were back in 1991 at Chapman, you need many people in the organization, all people in the organization, in fact, to understand that This is what we are, but this is what we will be. Oh, by the way, you have to look the part. These are little side lights here from my main course. I'm not going to get into economics. That's Ben Bernanke, former Federal Reserve Board head. And this is an article about, this is back in 2009. Don't worry about the article, but the photo. Notice how he's basked in light. I mean, he looks like a leader, doesn't he? I mean, and so a lot of our jobs is PR. So I took this to heart when I saw this photograph. I said, gee, Ben, I didn't read the article either. I saw the photograph. So I was in, it was not long after this, I gave a talk in Toronto. And it was a venerable historic hotel. And after the talk, there were reporters asking me questions. And it was in some drab area of the hotel. And then all of a sudden, I saw a light over in the distance. And I said, hey, come on, let's do the photographs over here. So this is what my photograph was. So let that be a lesson to you. Remember that. Remember, it's the little things in life that make a difference. Okay, tactics. This is, by the way, Holly the Panther, named for Holly Wilson. By the way, I'm from Chicago. If the Wilson Tron, that's what we call it, in back of Holly the Panther looks familiar. We were putting in this jumbotron, and they had it so there were all pipes that were looking. It just looked terrible. It was a very prominent part of the campus. That's something I'm obsessed with, is the aesthetic look of the campus. So you got to cover that up. And I was it'll cost $25,000 to do a design for what the design will be. $25,000. I said, forget it. So I went back to my office. I Googled Wrigley Field iconic sign, and I copied it. Don't tell anybody in the Wrigley organization about this, because I never paid anything for it, and we saved the $25,000. Okay, tactics. So it's nice to say, here's where we are, here's where we want to be, but the tough thing, how do you get there? I'm not diminishing the importance of that. Critically important is knowing where you want to be. The last time I spoke here was about climbing a mountain. To climb a mountain, you have to know where the summit is. You have to know where you want to go. There are tactics to get there, but if you don't know that summit, you're just going to be, it'll be wanderlust. You're just going to be going in circles. Another metaphor, let's say sailing. Maybe that's more appropriate for Orange County. You're sailing and you're trying to get to a distant point. If you know that point, there are winds that buffet you, move you in different directions, but you could tack towards it. Those are the tactics that get you there, but you need that end point. Now, we're assuming you know that end point because you know who you are, and what your organization does. That's your vision. Okay. We have a change in our vision to give prepared students a chance to thrive. So there are tactics involved in that to get you there. And those are the tactics that are the driving forces. And you need those driving forces because I assure you there will be restraining forces. The people who like the status quo, the people who are threatened by change. You as leaders have to find the way, be politically astute in putting the kinds of changes together that will overwhelm those restraining forces. But at least it's been my experience, that most leaders fail, not so much because they can't get the tactics right or the driving forces, but they're doing things that don't necessarily lead to some ultimate vision. They're doing things just for the sake of change, and that's where you get churning and no direction. And things are happening, but not happening to lead you to any endpoint. Again, it all has to work together. So let me give you some examples of how this works. One tactic we employed early on, remember 1991, we didn't have very much money, we had a paltry endowment, and one of the things we did have was a Division II and Division I athletic program, Division I in baseball, Division II everything else, and it was a beloved program, but I looked at it and saw that the number of students participating in it, because it required scholarships, was very few. We only had about 100 students participating. And I believe in intercollegiate athletics. I think it's an important, vital part of a vibrant, intellectual, academic program, our vision. So the numbers didn't suggest it was doing what we wanted to do. Secondly, those scholarships, which we were giving for athletic merit, could be changed and transferred over to academic merit so we can begin to recruit those gifted students. That's part of our vision. So you get up in the morning, you think about your vision. What do you want to be? You want talented, prepared students, students that are already showing evidence that they're going to make a contribution to this new, exciting intellectual environment. So I go to the board and I say I want to move from Division II to Division III. It's a non-scholarship program. More students tend to participate in Division III. And you know what? I was shot down. The coaches were against me, the AD was against me, and they got to the board, and the board didn't support me. This was very early in my administration. It was my fault. It was only after the first year when we were able to come up with this shared vision of change and being an institution where the intellectual environment was different. It was only after I had that reason, that rationale, that I went back to the board and explained that the reason we're going to Division III is we can use those funds to put together a new presidential scholarship fund to attract students with higher SATs, GPAs, and leadership ability. And the second time, even though the coaches, the AD, the parents of those students, athletes were against me, the board saw the rationale and accepted it, and we moved forward. But again, it shows you how important knowing that vision and making sure it's a shared vision to get acceptance of the things that you want to move forward. Acceptance of the tactics, that the tactics are in fact coherent. They are leading to an endpoint that everyone wants to achieve. Another, and this is one more example, beloved program, Chapman Access Program, and the prior president loved it. It was a program, it's called a boot camp in the summer. Those students who couldn't even get into Chapman because their GPAs were too low or hadn't done the right coursework, didn't have the college prep classes. These were really weaker students that probably weren't ready for a four-year college environment. Put together this Chapman Access Program. You go during the summer. The students attended at Chapman. They live at Chapman. And if they pass the program, they're accepted as students in the fall. It was so successful, a program, and so beloved, it grew, and high school counselors then began to pick their weakest students and send them to Chapman. And we developed this reputation as, if you're not quite ready, Chapman is the place to go because they have this great CAP program. That's what it was called. And obviously, this approach, as beloved as this program was, it's not consistent with this new vision. And when I first tried to end it, it failed because the board loved it. They had gone through 10 years of hearing how important it is, and several of these students made it. Many of them didn't, by the way. It had a very low graduation rate, but there were some success stories that it pointed to. But once we identified a new vision and a change in who Chapman would be in the future, then we eliminated this program. It was a tough thing. There were these strong restraining forces, but the tactics that we employed, obviously, this was not one that was consistent with that new vision. And it took years and years before high school counselors realized that Chapman no longer had this program because they continued to send some of their less prepared students. Here's another example of one of your organizations, one of my favorites that Dana Butler-Moberg heads up. I just love that photograph of that cute, darling little girl and then that horse kissing her. But Shea Therapeutic Riding Center, we have started utilizing Salesforce, which made a huge impact on our efficiency as a business. We're able to more effectively measure client progress and statistics, which has helped make us more transparent and accountable to donors. That's great. That's a tactic. There's a great example of a tactic. I love it. Salesforce is where my son, my fellow mountain climber, by the way, we climb together. Adam, he works for Salesforce.com, so I know they have a great product. But this is a great example of a tactic that will make Shea Center more effective, especially to donors. So you have to constantly think of what are these tactics that you're doing and making sure that those tactics are consistent with the organization you want it to be. which moves us to focus. This is Suki the Panther for Suki McCardle. Some of you may know Randy and Suki McCardle, great people. If this looks familiar to you, and if you like Bacharach, the artist, Rosetta, who owns the rights to these, we own the statues, of course, but she owns the right to the art. She sold to Bacharach the designs, and if you want one of these, you can go to Bacharach and get a crystal, not a bronze, but a crystal version, and they are absolutely stunning and expensive, too. But focus. I think, change is difficult. It's, you have a vision, and there are all kinds of issues you're dealing with. And if you don't focus, you're just not going to orchestrate change. That's why our strategic planning is different from just about anyone's. I don't think most strategic planning works. I think it doesn't work because it tries to be everything to everybody and include too much in it, so much that you accomplish nothing. And I think a strategic plan really works best when you can identify over a certain period of time the fundamental thing you want to do, a single, maybe two things you want to do. So our first plan, after I became president and after we identified our vision and who we wanted to be and all that, increase student selectivity. That makes sense. Once we have this new vision, we want to have prepared students. Students are already prepared to engage in a great intellectual community. You have to bring in those students. So that was our first 5-year plan. And that's so fundamental to what we were doing. Obviously, we wanted to focus on that. This isn't to say that the business school and the music school and the science school, they wouldn't be doing their things. They could do their things. The provost could work with them, but at the executive level and my senior staff and the kinds of things I thought of in the middle of the night or in the beginning of the morning of what we would accomplish, it was focused those particular years on increasing student selectivity. You could only do so much, but if you can focus, you can accomplish great things. I'm going to just highlight just a few of these to give you an idea. The second 5-year plan was to achieve national program accreditations and establish new schools of law and film. That's a tough nut to crack. 2 new schools, getting national accreditation, that's obviously a major challenge. But if you focus on it, you can accomplish it. In this case, I'll never forget Bob Bassett, when we had just a department of film. As part of communication arts, we didn't have a film school. We identified that, if this is going to be an exciting environment, let's take a program that's going to be in demand that we could do better than anyone else because of our location near Hollywood. And he came running to me one day and he said, gee, I hear we're going to be demolishing the old Student Union, which is what it was called at the time. I said, yeah, the wrecking crew's coming out tomorrow. Said, we could use this. We're in these small, cramped headquarters in a communication building, and we need more space. I said, well, it's terrible shape. There are rodents in there. It used to be our cafeteria. We don't care. Just give us the space. Well, we called off the wrecking crew, and I'll never forget, we lost $10,000 deposit. But that was the initial home. We modernized it and became Cecil B. DeMille Hall. C.C. Presley was the one who gave us some money so we at least could get the rodents out of there and make it a livable building. But that was the genesis for what ultimately became Marriott Knott Studios and the Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, which is now considered to be one of the top 5 film schools in the world. But it wouldn't have happened if in those early years you didn't make some of those key decisions, just gradual decisions that get you there. If it's like mountain climbing, if you keep moving in the right direction, you'll ultimately get, even as far as that summit may be, and as formidable a climb as it is, you'll get there if you continue to move in the right direction. This is the major studio that is now part of a major backlot. We now have a digital and media arts center, and we're now building a documentary center. So it's like a Hollywood backlot at this point. Getting back to the strategic initiatives, faculty recruitment, a path to national stature. We decided in 2008, well, we have great students. We have now excellent facilities. We're doing a lot of building in the 5-year plan before that. We have these new schools in film and law, and we've been seeking national credit. So now let's bring in some faculty superstars. You know, if you're really building an exciting and vibrant learning community, you not only need students, you need great faculty, star faculty. Well, how do you get them? What are the tactics that you use to get them? Well, if we could focus on it, we might be able to make some headway. So let me just tell you, I'm running, I'm training for a marathon. I'm in Rome, and you have to, if you've done marathons, you know you have to do a 20-miler 3 weeks before you actually do the marathon. And I needed a place to run. I asked the concierge, and they said, oh, go out to Villa Borghese Gardens, right at the top of the Spanish Steps. If you go to the top, turn left, it's beautiful. Beautiful museums, but beautiful running promenades. So I'm running, and as I'm running, I see these, I don't know if you can see them, these statues with pedestals on the side of this. So I'm running here, I'm looking, oh, how beautiful. I'm always thinking of landscaping and design and the beauty of the campus, because that also attracts students and faculty and donors, and thought, how could we use these statues in a way that connected to what we want to do? Well, we're now in this plan of attracting great faculty, superstars, and I know as a former faculty member that the most important thing you could do to attract a faculty member, a Nobel laureate, for example, is not money. You wouldn't be doing it. I'm going to say that. You're not going to be doing what you're doing as CEOs of your organizations if it were just money. You could be making a lot more money. You're all leaders, obviously, and you could be leaders at higher paying jobs somewhere else. You love what you're doing. There are different kinds of rewards. And to a faculty member, to a teacher, the rewards are different than money, because they wouldn't be teachers if that were the compelling drawing card. I knew for a faculty member, the highest thing that will attract something, what faculty members really value highly, would be to hold a chair, an endowed chair. That's the highest level. You know, you go from assistant, associate, full. You could do that fairly quickly. But then what is it after that? An endowed chair. Well, at the time, we only had one. In 1991, we had one endowed chair. It was a chair in very restricted Bible studies, and that was it. So when I saw this, I said, each of those, we could have these statues, and they could commemorate the establishment of endowed chairs to make that chair more prominent. And that became the basis. If you come to our campus, you'll see these promenades with busts on either side, and here's one with Milton Friedman that commemorates the establishment of a chair in economics. Abraham Lincoln, those of you who fondly recall Don Kennedy, his legacy, Don's legacy, wonderful man, my mentor, his legacy lives on at Chapman because he established the founding chair in our School of Law. And he selected his hero, Abraham Lincoln, to commemorate, to say what that chair is supposed to be all about. Here's Ella Fitzgerald. Dick Bertea gave us a chair, the Bertea chair, and he's a jazz musician, and he selected Ella. And most recently, this is let me get back to that. Oops. Most recently, this is Henry Tamianka, one of the great violinists of the 20th century. His son, Dan Tamianka, reveres his father, wants to keep his father's memory alive, and wants a bust at Chapman. So how can I do this? I said, well, they commemorate the establishment of chairs. He said, well, can I give money to endow a chair and have my father represent what that chair is supposed to be about? Of course. And this will grace the entrance to our new Musco Center for the Arts. We're selecting those Puccini, Mozart, Fitzgerald, Ethel Merman. Those are the busts that will be in front of our new Musco Center. But as a result, we now have 39 chairs and 25 professorships. And we've been able to recruit the likes of Vernon Smith, the Nobel Prize winner, Richard Bausch, one of the great short story writers in the world, if not the leading short story writer. Also has a great, those of you interested in writing, is a great community writing center that he started. Yakir Aronov, National Medal of Science. This is President Obama presenting it to him. I was in D.C. at the time when he received that national medal. In fact, I was told when I left there, we were going to be sending you a photograph of you shaking the hands of President Obama. I said, oh, that would be nice. That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you very much. 2 weeks later, I get in the mail this photograph. I'm looking. There's obviously President Obama. I'm looking. Where am I? And all of a sudden, I realize that's me. Well, you can see I did get close to him. Anyway, the most recent strategic plan we have now is moving into the health sciences. That we're about 2 years into it, making great progress. We believe that this is a great need of the 21st century. It was one area of Chapman that was lacking in terms of science. We had a great undergraduate natural science program, but we wanted an undergraduate natural science program that would lead to graduate education beyond physical therapy and to include other programs. So we decided, let's move forward with that, and that's our focus. I mean, that's what I think about. That's what I think about now. That's what I think about in terms of fundraising, new programs, new initiatives. Other things are happening at Chapman, but this is what I'm giving most attention to. And as a result, we are moving our MS in athletic training to our new campus. We expanded our physical therapy, almost doubled it, doctorate in physical therapy. We established a new school of pharmacy, the first nationally accredited program in pharmacy, research-based in Orange County. And next year, hopefully, in fact, this next week, we will have the accreditation team, and if they give us the go-ahead, we will have a Master of Science in Physician Assistance going, and in the future, an MD or a Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine. We'll see, but these are the kinds of things we're looking at, and we're doing feasibility studies now and looking at fundraising possibilities in that area as well. Where will they be located? We developed a new campus in Irvine near the Spectrum. It's the Harry and Diane Rinker Science Campus. As Shelley knows, Harry celebrated his 95th birthday last night over at the Pacific Club. Incredible facility. Over time now, over the last 2 years, we've acquired 25 acres of land, which was about as big as Chapman. We're now about 100, but when I became president, it was about 25 acres. But we've now acquired 25 acres and 400,000 square feet of building space, of which we are now using 175,000. So there's a lot of growth potential there. Big deal. I mean, it's a big effort, a lot of fundraising, but since that's our focus, since that's what we're focusing our attention on, we were able to move forward expeditiously and make some real progress. Okay, Gigi Santos, Women's Transitional Living Center, is the oldest domestic violence center in Orange County, and on our continued development. Look at that last sentence. We specialize in populations not accepted into other shelters, and we're the first in Orange County to house male survivors. She could have easily used the word focus. We focus in populations not accepted in other shelters. This is an organization that knows what it is, what it's doing. That's the elevator speech that I hope you all have. But with that kind of focus, I know she can accomplish miracles and great change because there's that attention that you otherwise could be distracted from by doing too many other kinds of things. The last and very important one, Ed Kasich said it earlier in the video, and that's honest leadership. I don't think you can have a successful institution that's moving forward towards its vision unless it has strong underlying values. When I was back in '91, when George Ardress called me to invite me to serve as president of Chapman, it was a tough time because the then president it was a short-lived presidency, failed presidency, and the institution was wanderlust. It was going around. It was in a weakened state because there's a great deal of frustration, anxiety about the future of the school. So So when I received that call, it was kind of scary. I wasn't prepared or didn't go to school to be a president of a university, that's for sure. I didn't have an MBA. I'm an economist, taught statistics, econometrics, history of economic thought. So after he asked me, I said, I love Chapman, I'll accept it, but I was scared. So the first person I went to see was a beloved professor, our version at Chapman of Mr. Chips. He's since died. His name is Paul Delp. He actually attended Chapman, what's called California Christian College in 1920, graduated, went to graduate school, then came back and taught for years and years and years. And I said, Paul, I'm scared. What do you think? What advice can you give me? And I keep this advice in the middle of my desk drawer, and when I get there in the morning, I always open it and read it because I think it's the best advice I ever received. And that's Paul. Just remember, Jim, treat everyone with respect and dignity. If you do that, you'll do just fine. And I think it's the best advice I can give you as well. We have tough jobs, and oftentimes we're frustrated. Sometimes people disappoint us, your own people, and it's I guess, easy to lash out. It's much more difficult to do this. And one of the things I'm proud of at Chapman during the 25 years president, I've never yelled at anyone, never even raised my voice at anyone. And you don't, we're all professional. We're all trying to do good. People are good. People want to make a contribution. And people want to be part of an institution larger than themselves. And they're not going to be unless they feel good about the institution that it's humane and it does the right kind of thing. So you have to not only read it, you have to live this each and every day. I'll give you some examples of how it works. George Argis, I'm not going to go through the details. I want time for Q&A, but we were going through a tough issue, a value issue related to our football team. There was a violation. It was kind of a minor violation, but it got out. It was a red shirt violation, and NCAA said we might have to forfeit the season. At the time, it looked like we were going to win our division championship and then go on for the national championship. So what do? Do we wait for NCAA to tell us what to do, or do we do something in advance? And I called George and said, what do you think? He was chairman of the board at the time. And, you know, I was hoping he would say, oh, just forget about it. Let NCAA deal with it. It's their decision. They know all the rules and regulations. I thought he would because he loves football, and he loved our football team. He used to play football in community college at Pasadena. But he said, after I told him all about it, he said, in your heart of hearts, you know what's right. Do it. He didn't tell me what to do. He said, you really know what's right. And at the end of the day, all of us really do know what's right. You don't have to take a course in ethics. I think we all, and you wouldn't be in the positions you're in if you didn't know what to do, what is right. And after thinking about that, we forfeited the season. One of the toughest decisions I've had to make, but maybe one of the more important ones. Here's the LA Times, I guess it was the next day or the day after we announced it. Chapman University is not exactly a football power, plays a Division II, ranks below the likes of Notre Dame, blah, blah, blah. But Chapman is a school that knows how to accept blame and show responsibility, refreshing actions these days. Remember, other people in your community are reading this now, not just the athletic program, but your whole institution. And it concludes, some Chapman students thought the forfeitures were too severe a penalty, and the two ineligible players made innocent mistakes. But regulations must be heeded, and when broken, responsibility must be shouldered. Doti's action tells students that it is more important than a football team's winning record. It turns out NCAA said it was a minor violation. We could have played out the season, but the fact that we were able to do this and make this decision set the path for this new Division III program that we were a part of. And it told the coaches it's not winning at all costs. There's other things that are more valuable, like teaching leadership, building camaraderie. Those are the kinds of things. That's why I think intercollegiate athletics is so important in a learning community. Not the winning, it's what's learned in the process. And this set us on the right path. But it again shows that values orientation and being cognizant of those values is so vitally important to an organization. Council on Aging, I'm going to get right to the sentence. They talk about the people they serve, And Lisa concludes by saying that these are the people we serve, but we want to let them know they matter because they do. That's the value statement that drives an organization. People matter. Let's not forget that, and we're serving those people. Does it work? Well, I showed you those first numbers back in 91 of U.S. News when we ranked like 60 and 90. And over time, you can see most recently we're in the top 10 in all three, overall, peer assessment, and student selectivity. Student selectivity, by the way, is the one I'm most geared to and the accomplishment at Chapman I'm most proud of. And most recently, we ranked number 2 in student selectivity. And that's going from 92nd to number 2. No other school has been able to achieve that. And the reason for it, again, is that focus, knowing where you want to go, knowing what you want to be, and then putting the strategies together in a value-centered way to accomplish it. There's a bust on Chapman's campus. It doesn't commemorate the establishment of a chair. It's a bust of Albert Schweitzer, our guiding spirit at Chapman. And there's a quotation, I don't know if you could read it. It reads, "Search and see whether there is not some place where you may invest your humanity." And that's what you are doing. You're investing your humanity. You're creating leadership in your organizations, and that's why I'm humbled to be part of this group, but I applaud you for your work and let you know that this is probably the most important group I'm going to be speaking before during this entire year, and thank you for giving me the privilege of giving this keynote address. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we have some time, and there's some individuals around with microphones if there are any questions. Yes, Max?
Jim, tell us what's next. What's on your agenda? You've always had vision for what you're going to do. Tell us where you're going.
Yeah, well, yeah. I have 6 months left as president before I ride off into the sunset. Well, the sunset, what is the sunset? Well, let me, first of all, why I decided to not retire but resign as president, and I'm planning to go back to the faculty. And that I started as a teacher. I want to end as a teacher. You know, in economics, I don't know if you remember, this will bring back bad memories, micro and macro. Micro is the pricing and the supply and demand and the individual company, institution, the person, and maximizing utility. Macro is the big, the national, the global thing, GDP. So macro, micro. I started micro working individually with students, then became an administrator like you, and for the last 25 years have been president dealing with macro issues, the issues that I just talked about. I want to end going back to the student, have the time to see students develop and nurture them and be so proud of being part of their legacy. So I look forward to teaching. So I'm already thinking about teaching econometrics. I'd love to teach a course now. We have a PhD in education, the economics of higher education to our PhD students. I will continue to have some fundraising responsibilities that are near and dear to my heart. We've established what is called the Simon Scholar Program at Chapman for high school students. I'm really proud of that, and I want to extend that and maybe go around the country and get other schools to do what we're doing, taking students in high school, in inner city schools, largely minority students, and give them an opportunity over a 2-year period in high school to bone up and become STEM scholars at a private college, and at Chapman it's going to be free tuition and room and board, full ride for these students. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm excited about the future of the Rinker Health Science Campus, and I'd like to work between the Schmidt College of Science, which is building a new center for science and technology, our Crean College of Health Science, and develop majors that will connect the two. So students that go on to pre-med or pre-pharmacy, pre-physical therapy might be able to save a year or two in the process if we could do it, you know, in one fell swoop, and then do the kind of development at the Rinker Center that will create for teams of students. The vision there, by the way, is quite unique. Most schools, you have a medical school or a pharmacy school, but they're kind of separated. What we're doing at Chapman and what we're doing at Rinker is that we are getting these students in various health disciplines to work together in teams. So you will not have a team of medical doctors or a team of pharmacists. You will have a team of a pharmacist with a physician assistant, with a physical therapist, and they work together. And those are the teams that will be providing health care in the 21st century. So we think we're on the cutting edge and the frontier of how healthcare will be delivered. So I'd like to make sure that we continue that because there's still some critical steps, including a medical school, that I'd like to do. Why am I retiring when I still have the energy to serve as president? 25 years. Why not go 30 or 35 years? Well, I have some reasons for that I'll share with you. The top 5 reasons why I'm resigning as president. And that wasn't a set-up question that Max said, but those of you who've read my articles in the Register, by the way, this next Tuesday when I'm going to write about, those of you who know my Dancing with Julia Ardress, what I learned from that experience dancing with her. But those of you who've read my articles know about my chickens. So one of the reasons, number 5, is that I can spend more time with my chickens in the morning. I got 4 beautiful girls, and they're precious. One of them, actually, when I go in and clean their coop, it's very bucolic in the morning to do this. One of them, it's Renegade, they all have names, comes up and wants her back scratched while I'm cleaning the various coops. Okay, another reason. Those of you who know, did you know that I'm a reoccurring star on Bold and Beautiful soap opera? Here's how it happened. I have a TV show Dialogue that we produce at Chapman on PBS. Our initial cameraman ultimately became producer of Bold and Beautiful, Casey Kaspirik. And when I saw Casey at an alumni event, I said, hey, what's going on? I gave you your first break. Why don't you invite me back to be a part? So he gave me, I've been 3 times. The name of my part is Chapman. I'm a CFO. I'm like the oldest guy in the show, the gray-haired guy. And now that I'm leaving as president, number 4 is I can become a regular cast member on The Bold and Beautiful. And no, forget this old CFO. I want to get into this love triangle between... This is true. Hope Logan is trying to decide between these 2 brothers. She's got an affair with both of them going on. I want to get in the middle of all that. Okay, what's number 3? Number 3 is I want to see Daniele Struppa, my successor, dance on stage for American Celebration. That's the one I've been doing with Julia Ardress every year. It's been a kick. I love it. Julia's a great dancer, but read Tuesday's Register to find out what I learned from doing that. But I can't wait to see Daniele in that role. Okay, number 2, I plan to go back to teaching and be part of the Ardress School of Business and Economics. I'll have a new boss, and I can't wait for our dean, Reggie Gilliard, to be my new boss. He may have, he may be concerned about that, obviously, but I'm looking forward to it. And those of you who know my longtime association with Essie Adibi, who's been great. We've been colleagues with this. Next December will be our 39th annual economic forecast, longest running forecast in higher education. But he's always asking me, given my position, he always tells me he's not making enough money, wants a raise, and now as I move on, I won't have Essie Adibi pestering me for a raise anymore. So those are the reasons I resign. Kidding aside, I've been president 25 years. I really would be good for another 5 years. But you know what? To be a leader, you need a 10-year horizon. You need to be thinking about things not 5, 10 years out. So you need a leader with you need a longer vision. Daniele's a great guy. I've been working with him now for 10 years. He's been our chancellor, our provost. And 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe I went to the Board of Trustees and asked the board to select him as presidential designate. So over the years, been moving to that position because I really believe it's your responsibility. a major responsibility. Don't forget this. Succession planning is critically important. If you leave and you didn't do that, all the good that you've done can go to waste. I've seen it happen in organization after organization. You bring in somebody that you think is terrific. On paper looks terrific, but somehow, some way doesn't mesh with the culture, personality clash, and everything you've done. All the blood, sweat, and tears can just go down the drain. Other questions? Yes? Okay. In the back? Yes?
Thank you, Dave.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Doti. My name is Vatana Peng. I'm the Executive Director of the Kim Won Family Community Center in Santa Ana. We have received a number of students from Chapman, and I have noticed that those interns are very passionate about making changes in community. And we have just talked a moment ago about the value statements. We invested in the humanity because of the value. What is your personal value? And then how does it connect to the value of the Chapman University? Because you are intending also to teach after even you're retired. So I must have noticed that you have a lot of value in that. And what is your personal value, and how do you see it being connected to the value of Chapman University? And also, what would be your suggestion for the funder to see how the funder value are connected to the agency value, and so also the people value? Because we do not just want to say that we are investing in serving X number of people, but at the end we want to see the impact. That is about the value and how those are connected. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me have a show of hands. How many of you have attended or graduated from Chapman University? Chris, I know, and great. And I know you graduated, and Bob Hope gave the commencement address way back there. We talked about that earlier. I notice that many of our graduates go into nonprofit work, and many of them have gone to Africa. I've visited Africa. I've seen some of their missions and some of the things that they're doing, and I've often wondered, the question that you ask, why is that? What are the things that we're doing? What are the things that an institution can do to prepare young people for the world of nonprofit work, helping others, filling the need in the community? And we all know there are pressing needs that are unmet. And let me answer that question by reading to you. I'm glad I can fit this in. I wrote a piece in the Orange County Register about, it was just a few weeks ago, it was about the importance of liberal arts, how you can take a course that doesn't seem to have any practical application, but in fact, it helps you in ways that you would never even think about. And that's the value of a liberal education. I think the reason Chapman has more people, graduates, people leaving Chapman and doing the kind of work you're doing is because of that background, strong background in a wide variety of disciplines. And I'm going to read here an email that I received after I wrote that article from Dana Butler Moberg, who heads up Shea Center. And she said, I'm catching up on my email, and I was interested in your article featuring your discussion about liberal arts and why they're valuable. She writes, I hope you don't mind. Dana, are you still there? Is it okay if I read parts of it? Okay, I want your approval. You're not going to sue me now, are you? Violation of confidentiality. I have a drama degree from the University of Washington. I love the business of the arts as well as being an artist. Like many of my graduating class, I wondered what I would do with my degree.
Yeah,
I realized when I attended UCLA's film extension that I was not suited for the film world, but after a time I realized I was suited for the nonprofit world after my many experiences with nonprofit arts groups. But those groups and that kind of leadership involves discipline, accomplishment, curiosity, determination, self-esteem that comes with the degree is just as important as the degree itself. And I'm going to add this because it's a plug for Chapman. I told you this before, and it's still true. Our Chapman physical therapy interns are by far the best prepared and well-educated of those who spend time at Shea. I am positive your liberal arts majors will also possess the same successful qualities. So those of you who graduated in theater, my article Tuesday is about how dancers have a leg up on everyone. My big regret in life is I didn't take a dance class in college when I should have. But as a lifelong learner, I learned later in life. That's great, and that's okay too. But the breadth of knowledge is what's important in, I think, creating a sense of humanity, that we're all in this together. When you have that attribute or that characteristic, and value its importance, you can't help but think when you see something, some person, some human being, some animal who needs help, that just maybe you might be the person to provide it and fill that need. Thank you, everyone, for your attention and giving me the opportunity to speak here. Have a great, great summit. Thank you, Christine.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you so much, Dr. Doti. I came away with, just as Dr. Doti was speaking, so much hope and inspiration for the work that we do. And as we think about these challenges, we really need to be so hopeful about the impact that we're making. It is hard work, but with that hope and inspiration, there's so much that we can accomplish. And humbling to see the incredible accomplishments of Chapman University under Dr. Doti's leadership. So thank you once again, and I'm very excited to move on to the next piece of our agenda. And I would like to invite Rich Baker and Dan Oster up to this segment. We're not going to do much introduction for. We're going to pass it along, and we hope you all have fun with this.
All right, guys. Keep it going for Dr. Doti. That was awesome, right? All right. Excellent, everyone. My name is Rich Baker, and this is Dan Oster.
And I don't know how to apply a lavalier, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that's fair enough. We are probably not typical of what you're expecting. We are improv comedians. And you might be wondering, what are improv comedians doing here?
Hey, applaud if you've ever seen an improv show.
Yeah, who's seen improv? Oh, great.
Good. Market penetration.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, if you haven't seen improv, basically it's theater where people make stuff up. And a lot of the soft skills that we use in improv absolutely translate to business. Over the last 30 years, businesses of all types have used improvisers to come in and teach different things, focus on listening and agreement, stuff that we'll get into in a little bit.
And coming together, in fact, as a team. You'll see a lot of what we do today is about working together and just saying yes to each other. Fun, little exercises. You may feel a little silly, but that means you're doing it right. And just to kind of make you feel comfortable with that, we're going to do a little demonstration of what we do right now. We're going to look silly first. Can I get just a suggestion from you guys? A first name, like Patrick or Linda or? Marion. Very, give it up for Marion.
Yes. Wasn't that hard, see?
There you go. And that's improv, that's it.
Can we get an object, any object? Yeah. What was that? A pen.
A
Great.
pen, fantastic.
Pen.
So
excellent.
Rich and I are going to tell you the story of Marion and the pen. However, we don't tell stories the normal way. We tell them
one
word
at a time.
This is the word at a time story of Marion and the pen. Give it up for that.
One
morning,
Marion
awoke
and
found
a
pen
made
of
gold
sitting
right
there
on
her
dresser.
Marion
grabbed
the
pen,
hands
trembling
as
she
wrote
her
name
on
a
piece
of
paper.
The
paper
spoke
to
Marion.
It
spake
loudly
and
clearly
and
magically.
Marion,
you
have
awoken
a
spirit
within
this
piece
of
paper.
Marion
was
freaked
out.
So
she
took
that
piece
of
paper
and
folded
it
into
a
airplane.
She threw that
Airplane
out the window.
It
Came
flying
right
back.
Marion
Couldn't
believe
what
had
happened.
She
grabbed a knife
and
stuck it
right
in
that
paper.
but
The
knife
didn't
go
through
it
at
all.
So
Marion
decided
to
respect
the
paper
and
let
bygones
be
bygones.
always.
Remember,
If you have
a
golden
pen,
use
it
wisely.
Use it wisely. Use that pen wisely.
Use it wisely.
Use
Very
it
good.
wisely,
So,
my friend.
that was just a ridiculous way of showing you. We'll tell you about the skills that we use in order to do that can help you. But right now, we'd like you guys to feel a little silly. I'd like everyone, if you would, to please stand up just where you're at. You don't need to move from where you're at. You've probably been sitting for a while now, and adults don't learn from sitting too long without moving. So we're going to get you guys moving. This is a warm-up we do before we hit the stage. Every time, it's just called shakeouts. It's super simple. We're going to start with our right hand, and we're going to shake it out 8 times. Then we're going to move to the left hand. Then we're going to move to the right leg, and then we're going to move to the left leg. And then after we've done all 4 limbs, we're going to cut it in half, and we're going to go 4, 4, 4, 2, 2, 2, and 1, 1, 1. And we're going to shout out every number as we go. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. And then when we finally end, that'll be the left leg on 1, and then we'll all do one big clap like that, and we'll be nice and warmed up. Everyone got it? You got it. Here we go. Let's start with that right hand. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Nice. Very nice. Good for that. All right, folks, while you are still standing, before you sit down, I promise is the last thing we'll ask you to do while you're standing. I want you at your tables there to find a partner. It's all right if it's someone you've never met before, or if it's a friend, that's fine. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name's Rich.
Hi, I'm Dan.
Nice to meet you, Dan.
I like your shirt, Rich.
Thank you. I like your shirt.
All right, now that you guys have a partner, by the way, folks, if you can't find a partner, a group of 3 is okay. We will allow a group of 3.
Yep.
All right, quiet coyote now. Quiet coyote.
Quiet coyote. Okay,
Thank you very much. I can't believe that actually worked. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do an activity. This is our first improvisational activity with you. I'm going to ask you to create a series of pictures with your bodies and your partner. Don't worry, it'll be very simple, very easy. We'll respect everyone's personal space. Now, the trick is you are not allowed to speak to each other. All right? You're just going to have to take your cues off of whatever your partner is physically doing. So, for example, if I were to ask Rich and myself to make a knife and a fork with our bodies, great and fantastic, okay? Knife and fork, it's that simple. Now, with your partner, I would like for you to show me the sun and the moon. Can you make the sun and the moon?
Sun and the moon.
All right? There's no wrong way to do it. All right?
I like it.
Very nice. All right, very nice. Now show me, and it's all right, you can move while you're doing it. You can actually create like a moving picture. Salt and pepper. How about salt and pepper? What does that look like? Okay, great. Some people are shaking it with their hands. Some people are actually the shakers.
Yes. I think that gentleman's having a great time right there.
Someone I believe is actually using their salt and pepper hair. That's fantastic. Very creative.
Was the 90s band Salt and Pepper, but I'll forgive that this time.
Right, yes. Show me TLC, no. All right, now maybe I'm thinking of lunch. Show me salmon and chicken. How would you show me salmon and chicken? Okay, we've got some actual salmon that are swimming.
Yes, nice.
How about Jekyll and Hyde? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That might be a little harder.
All right, I like it.
All right, very nice, guys. Hey, one more, just because this movie's coming out. How about Batman and Superman? Can you show me Batman and Superman? How would you do that? All right, we got some flying Supermen.
Got some bat ears going. Oh, look at that. Use the jacket. That was nice.
All right, very nice. Give it up for yourselves, guys.
Good job, guys.
You can go ahead and take a seat if you'd
You
like.
can have
That's
a
fine.
seat.
Just make sure you're seated next to your partner. Now, what the heck was that? Why did we do that? Well,
other than to just make you look silly and laugh at you, which we enjoyed.
That was the primary reason.
Yeah, that's mainly why
But
we
the
do it.
secondary point that we wanted to get across is that you're able to make these pictures, you're able to come to these ideas very quickly through a process of agreement, right? Somebody makes a choice, you don't try to correct it, you work with whatever was thrown out there. That is a bedrock principle of improv that we call
yes
and. And that means agreement and support. There are no bad ideas. We're here to discover. We're here to go on journeys. But we'll learn a little bit more about that in a moment.
So you can stay seated for this, but with your partners, just to decide real quick, one of you is partner A and one of you is partner B. Partner B is not necessarily worse than partner B. It'll just help us when we're explaining this. So you guys are going to have a conversation, and it's going to start with person A. So if Dan was person A in our pairing right here, Dan would start by saying any declarative statement like,
eggs are a fantastic source of protein.
that's a great declarative statement. And so then what I would do as partner B, I have to respond to him, and we're going to have a conversation back and forth, and that was the opening line. It doesn't matter what the opening line is, any declarative statement. But every line after that, I want you to begin the statement with the word no. So going back to his statement was...
Eggs are a fantastic source of protein.
No, I prefer black beans or beef or something like that.
No, you're mistaken. It's all about eggs.
Yeah, exactly. So your job is to have this conversation where you have to say the word no before every sentence except for the first one. Cool? So person A, turn to person B and say any declarative statement. You got 30 seconds.
We came up at 9:50.
Excellent.
All right, let me stop you guys
That's
right
good.
there.
Good,
Excellent.
Good.
Give it up for negating. Let's applaud that.
Yeah.
For negativity.
So
didn't get very far.
What you may have discovered is that was probably...
Quiet coyote once again.
Quiet coyote, great. That's working so well.
I hope it keeps working. That's amazing.
Right? What you may have noticed is that was a difficult conversation to have, right? Saying no stops things right in their tracks.
All right, so let's take a little bit of a baby step away from no. We're all probably pretty good at saying no. We're adults. That's most of adult life. So now we are going to do the same thing. We're going to start with a declarative statement. For example,
America is over 200 years old.
Okay, fantastic. So he's going to make a statement like that. However, instead of saying no, we're going to say yes, but. All right, so for example again.
America is over 200 years old.
Yes, but that's not very old as countries go.
Yes, but it's older than some.
All right, fantastic. So that's how that works. This time maybe we'll have person B start. Every line after the first declarative statement will be yes, but. You'll have 30 seconds for this, and please begin. Yes, and this will really hit the yes and.
Nicely done, nicely done. Very good. Go ahead and wrap up those conversations.
All right, and we're back. Quiet coyote, quiet coyote.
Excellent,
quiet coyote.
very nice. So what you may have noticed is that saying yes, but is kind of like saying no.
Pretty
It's
similar.
Very similar.
They're related.
Very similar. So now, let's change it up. Let's go back. Person A is going to make the declarative statement again this time. But now, every line after that is going to begin with the phrase, yes, and.
Every line?
Every line.
Right.
So, for example, if Dan were to say,
cats are amazing pets.
Yes, and they're so cuddly.
Yes, and they are actually been known to reduce blood pressure.
There you go. Fair enough. So, you don't have to talk about cats. Talk about anything you want.
You can.
Person A, make a declarative statement, and then everything, yes, and. Got 30 seconds.
give him a little longer for this. Because they'll get some momentum anyway. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We can let them. That's what I'm saying. Let these breathe. We're cutting them off from the pace. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's good. Quiet Coyote, bring it back. Bring it back. All right, let's give it up for that. Agreement and support.
Excellent.
All right. So, without realizing it, or perhaps you did realize it if you've ever seen an improv show or done an improv workshop, what you guys were doing was the bedrock principle of improv. We call it yes and. And what that means is we agree with something, that's the yes, we support it with our own unique perspective. That's the and. And I think we can all agree that those yes and conversations certainly had a lot more momentum to them than the yes but.
Felt more productive, a more pleasant experience in general.
Or the no, absolutely.
When Dan and I get on a stage to perform improv, all we have is yes and. We don't know what we're going to do. Literally, there's no scripts of any kind. There's no props. There's anything else.
It's literally all we know.
So you've got our one piece of knowledge. So for example, if Dan started a scene by saying, "Oh, what a lovely day at the beach," and I came out and said, "Nope, we're at Walmart," then
that's it. Lights.
Yeah.
Pull the lights. That is the end of the scene.
Our scene is going to have a real hard time getting off the ground if we don't even agree where we are. So yes and, this coming together is such a great way of putting it because we have to get together in order to do this. Yes and requires that we listen. Stop and think about this if you've ever done this. You're having conversation with someone over the phone or in person, and they start to say something, and you think you know exactly where they're going. So then you formulate your response before they're done, and then the next thing you know, you guys aren't even talking about the same thing anymore.
Clearly, you've spoken to my mother. So
Yes. His mother's lovely.
And a lot of people, they try to find reasons not to do this. They say, well, I can't possibly agree with everything. Well, the important thing to realize is there is a time and a place for idea generation, and then, of course, there's a time and a place to select a course of action. This is evolutionary. Back in the old days, if a tiger is bearing down on you, it's a bad time to weigh your options, right? You have a couple of choices, you make one, and you go. But we are not constantly under threat of tigers in our modern life.
I am, but I live a weird life.
You have a very strange life, Rich. And a lot of times we feel that anxiety when we really should be in a space of creativity and discovery. So our challenge for the rest of this program and the rest of your time here will be to live the spirit of yes and.
Yeah, so for example, if you're in an idea generation, like people are a group together trying to come up with an idea how to fix a problem, for example, it's very easy and common if someone raises an idea that we all probably know isn't going to work, for the first response to be like, well, this is why this isn't going to work, or this is why it isn't going to work. Well, what that does is it creates this culture of, well, it's not safe to throw out our ideas. Later, we may discover that's not a good idea, but right now, if we want to increase our successes, double our failure rate. Come up with as many bad ideas, and then you'll find that spirit allows you to keep going and get a creative way of getting a good
That's right.
idea.
We're just putting it on a list. We're just writing it on a list. That's all we're doing. All right, so right now, let's take yes and for another test drive. Turn to your partner, and what you're going to do is you're going to give them a present. All right, these are yes and presents, and it works like this. You'll hand them a present, and you'll say, I got you a present. Person B will respond with yes, and it's a, and they're actually going to tell person A what it is, and then person A will have one more yes and statement on top of that. So for example, I got you a present.
Yes, and it's a dog.
Yes, and it's a Shih Tzu. Pardon my language. All right, so it's that simple. And then after that, person B will hand person A a present, and you'll keep that going. So again, I got you a present. Yes, and it's a, name the present, and then finally, yes, and it's an additional piece of information about anything at all.
The present, whatever you say it is, that's correct. Don't think about like, well, I have to figure out what it is they're telling me. You get to label the present, and then whatever they say about the present is absolutely correct. You can't be wrong.
And feel free to really give them that physical present in your hands here in this physical space. All right, these are yes and presents. Please begin with your partners. I actually ask them about some of the presents that they got.
Yeah, that's great.
Next, I think we'll do the interview, right? And it's you doing it, right? Okay. In a minute. All right, let's stop the
Very
presents.
nice, very nice.
Christmas is over.
Excellent presents,
Quiet
everyone.
coyote, bring it back
Excellent
in. Bring it
presents.
back in.
I love this is kind of they're doing it before we are.
I know, yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Great. Give yourselves a hand for that, guys. Very nice. That was your first foray into invention and discovery in the imaginative world of improv. Really quickly, what were some of the presents that we received out there? A Ferrari. What did we learn about the Ferrari? All right, a Ferrari without the keys. Fantastic. We've got instant drama there. How about over here? Did you guys have anything? Any presents at all? A bowling ball. And what did we learn about the bowling ball? It was very heavy. Hey, all right, great.
That's
I
accurate.
thought you were going there, and you did. That's fantastic. Great. How about over here? What did you guys get? An iPhone. Nice.
Ooh.
And what did we learn about that? A beautiful cover and case on the iPhone. Fantastic. Great. That's two presents really in one.
That's really nice.
You can see we're going places. We're already ending up in spaces and mental locations that we wouldn't get to on our own. It's actually the power of working with other people and saying yes in agreement.
Absolutely. What I'd love is a brave volunteer to come up and help us demonstrate this next exercise.
Very simple. Yes, I love it. This guy. Give it up
Give
for
it
him.
up. Come on up this way,
Are there stairs? Oh,
no, we
stairs
don't
are-
need stairs. He's got it.
What?
What's your name? Zoot.
Give it up for Zoot, everybody. Thank you very much, Zoot. We'll give you a little
Zoot,
hand
we've got a
held.
microphone
We're
there
going to be
for you.
partners. You and I are going to be
Awesome.
partners.
So, Zoot, you're going to play a little bit of improv with us. This is actually something that we do on stage. You and Dan, I'm assuming you don't know each other in real life, right?
Never met.
I
Hi,
have
Dan.
never met this man before.
All right, well, I believe that. So, you guys are now going to play characters who have not only know each other, but experience something together. So, let's say, what's something that two people could do together, like go skydiving or visit Disneyland or whitewater rafting.
I love
That's
it.
perfect. Thank
Give
you
it up
very
for
much.
whitewater rafting, by the way. That's a great suggestion.
So, Zoot, you and Dan went whitewater rafting, and basically I'm just going to ask you about it, and you guys are going to tell me this story. Of course, it's made up, and the way you're going to do that is you're going to start every sentence with yes and.
Got it.
You good with this?
Yeah,
Got it.
fantastic.
Ready to go.
All right, gentlemen, I heard that you guys actually went whitewater rafting.
Yes, and we saw a bear.
Yes, and it was not a black bear, it was a grizzly bear.
Whoa.
Yes, and grizzly bears are the most deadly of all bears.
Wow.
Yes, and it had cubs, 2 of them.
Yes, and the cubs actually attacked Zoot.
Oh, all right. You're
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, yes, and yes, and after they attacked me, I kind of scratched their bellies.
Yes, and you're not going to believe this, but they started purring.
Yeah. Yes, and then they rolled on their back and kind of gave a little smile.
Yes, and the mama grizzly got in on the action.
And I heard they went whitewater rafting with you.
Yes, and the mother wasn't too happy about that.
Yes, and this is because those cubs were really young to be whitewater rafting.
Yeah.
And that's why I only have half a paddle today.
Yes, and that paddle, by the way, was given to Zoot by his mother.
Yes, and I'm going diving for the other half soon.
All right, give it up for these guys.
Very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Well done,
Nicely
Zoot.
done,
Fantastic. Great.
Well played,
I wanted to hear more of the story.
I
It was
know,
so
but
good.
We're just running out of time. The story, They went up here with nothing. They never met each other, and all of a sudden, they now have a story where they went whitewater rafting with baby bear cubs who purred.
And Zoot, let me ask you really quickly, were you surprised by where we were going with it, where we ended up?
No, I saw it in my head the whole time.
Okay, great. So I played right into Zoot's hands.
As you said it, it just popped into my head the whole story. And the story changed as you said. It was great.
Oh, thank you very much, Zoot. That's a great observation. And the thing is, improv is movement. It's like jazz. You don't want to stop. There's no wrong note, right? You just justify it with the next note. All right, great. So Zoot set a great example. I'd love to get 2 people up now to do a slightly different exercise. Who wants to join us up on stage really quickly?
It'll be a lot of fun.
All right, great. We've got one and one more, please. And back there, fantastic. Give it up for our volunteers. The stairs are right here if you don't want to leap onto the stage. All right, and hi, what's your name?
Hi,
Linda, give it up for Linda.
Excellent. Oh, my. Hello, hi. What's your name? Laval.
Laval, very nice. Now,
Linda.
Linda and Laval, this is very important. Do you guys prefer chicken, salmon, or veggie?
Well, I have salmon, but I like chicken too.
Okay, great. And Laval, I want to know. Veggie, all right,
Stevie
fantastic.
says
Those are all
All right, fair
healthy choices. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to play a very standard improv game. This is something you would actually see in an improv show. It's called Conducted Story. Now, the 3 of them now are going to have to tell us a story. And what's going to happen is when I am pointing to one person, they'll be telling the story. If I point to somebody else, they're going to immediately continue the story, even if it's in the middle of a word or a sentence. You just keep going. And don't worry, I'll take care of you, and I'll be moving around. And we're just basically don't judge it, just wherever it goes, much like we did with the purring bear cubs. All right, so what I need is another name, please, a first name. Shelly. All right, shout out to Shelly. And can I get another object, please, like a pizza cutter or a laser or? Crossbow. A crossbow. I mean, you can't fail with this story, all right. So this is the conducted story. Do you guys understand really quickly before we begin? I'll be pointing to you and you'll be telling the story while I'm pointing to you. This is Shelly and the crossbow. Give it up for that.
Shelly was an athlete at the Winter Olympics.
And she had this awesome crossbow.
Which she took and shot the bow into the air.
And the arrow flew, and everyone
was really frightened because it went into the crowd.
And as it pierced 3 people as it flew past them, it just
got all bloody, filled with people dying.
And all of a sudden, the first responders were there.
And they bandaged everyone and made them feel so much better.
Oh, and Shelly was devastated.
She had to look down because everyone was wondering, why did she have this crossbow?
And Shelly was like, my bad. I'm real sorry.
And then she started crying and weeping, and it was just horrible.
You see, she had this itch as she was starting to shoot.
And she couldn't help it. Anytime she saw a crossbow, she had
to scratch that itch.
So she fired more.
Benadryl went to the side and it finally healed this
wound. And she said, now I am whole again.
But the arrow she shot went really, really far.
It went so far that it traveled around the world and back again in one day.
Its passport was stamped by every country along the equator.
And Shelly didn't know whether to be happy or sad.
All right, give it up for that, Shelly and the crossbow.
Nicely done.
Wow.
Thank you. Nicely
Amazing.
done.
Laval and Linda, one more time. Wow, that's better than some of the ones we've done. So
wow, yeah. That arrow
great.
flew.
I guess anyone
all
can
the
do
way
it. Never
around
mind.
The world. I didn't know arrows could fly all the way around the world. So, guys, I hope you've had fun, but I also hope that you've, taken this away from the idea that we need to, when we listen to people, we need to devote everything to listening to them. And then when they stop talking, then we need to respect their idea by reacting to it, by yes-anding what they do.
And during this program, I think you guys are going to find a couple of very specific situations where I believe you can apply this. No doubt you'll have opportunities to get together in groups of like-minded individuals where you are brainstorming. Please remind yourselves to yes and in those situations. You will love it. It only takes one but to throw the whole thing off. And you may find yourself in a situation where you're on maybe different sides of the table, different sides of an issue. In those cases, then I really encourage you to listen to the other point of view before you formulate your response and really take what they're saying and use it in
And don't
your
interrupt
response.
them. It's rude to just interrupt people. So here's a little fun game I'd like to leave you with throughout the rest of this conference. Anytime you see someone that you think was in this room, whether you're out in the hotel, walking around, whatever it is, if you make eye contact with them, I want you to, so I see Dan, and as soon as we make eye contact, we're going to like get down right here, and then we're going to clap right at the same time. We've acknowledged.
Or you can just do it with Zoot, but that's someone's got to do it.
We have acknowledged that we see each other, we
already done it.
listen to each other, and that we're going to try and clap at the same time. So it's a way of just reminding ourselves, yes, and listening, paying attention, respecting other people, and coming together or clapping together.
And you'll see in your programs, we're actually going to be joining you again tomorrow at the end of the program. So we will check on your work and make sure that you guys have been yes and.
We'll be asking.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoy the rest of your
Thank
summit.
you, guys.
And we'll see you in a little bit.
See you tomorrow.
Give it up for Rich and Dan.
Hi, I'm Ruchi Warrior. I've met many, many, many of you and so happy that you're all here. We are headed into a break. So a couple housekeeping items. Bathrooms are upstairs. Go down the hall, up the stairs. There are several restrooms. Break is 15 minutes. We've got a packed schedule and a lot more fun planned for you. The breakout rooms, excuse me, are upstairs. So if you could take a moment now, look down at your lanyard. If it's around your neck, flip it over. You should see a color sticker. Color sticker? Anyone without a color sticker? All right, so that's your color group after the 15-minute break. We'll get started at 10:30. Just look for the color upstairs. You'll be headed into that room. Couple small things. Give me just 30 more seconds. If you haven't already, in the Summit Lounge right behind that air wall, there's a graffiti wall. Please share your thoughts, ideas, take some selfies. Zoot said it's a great thing to do. Resource table. Many of you have left wonderful materials. Please take some time to take a look. Stories of inspiration are running on the monitor in that room as well. And finally, if the summit committee members could come up here really quickly before we let you go. Enjoy your break, say hi to each other, and we'll see you upstairs. After this next session, we'll be headed back down here. So up and then down.